Welcome to session number 16, which continues the explanation of comprehensive cognitive behavioral therapy and the behavioral therapy group in particular. You have already grasped the concept of slowly and steadily moving upward on your hierarchy, but I want to point this out to you again. No matter what activity you are working on in the group, and this includes everything from making small talk to being more assertive to feeling more comfortable when giving a short talk, it is important to start out slowly with activities that cause you just a little bit of anxiety, and practice on these activities until you can do them with noticeably less anxiety. When you reach this point, then move yourself up to the next step on the hierarchy in the same way. Interestingly, what you consider to be an activity that causes a little anxiety today will be something that causes you very little or no anxiety at all in a few months. Your progression up the hierarchy goes faster than you think it will, provided you stay on course with the behavioral therapy, whether you are doing it on your own or through the use of a social anxiety group. You will literally surprise yourself at what you can do and how quickly you will be able to do it. We had a man come to the Social Anxiety Institute for one of our intensive cognitive behavioral groups. This man had a more severe case of social anxiety than usual, and within a week or two he was standing in front of people, taking questions, using the microphone, and sitting in the stair chair. He told us he had never done any of these things before in his life, and he was very surprised he could do them now. His anxiety concerning what he was actually doing had not all gone away in this short period of time, but he was able to do all of these things with less worry and anxiety than ever before. He was successful at what he did, that is, the steps that were on his anxiety hierarchy, and realized they were heading him in the right direction. As you begin to realize you can do more things than you expected, make sure you take the time to cognitively remind yourself of your progress and give yourself some credit. If you are leading a behavioral group, please make sure you point this very rational fact out to the group members every single week. Here at the Social Anxiety Institute, we see people do new things, take part in new activities, and generally work their way up the hierarchy every week. These are always positive events, and we need to learn how to congratulate ourselves for making this progress. Sometimes, after making a solid step, the feelings we would like to have, those of confidence and happiness, are not there yet, because we have not had these kinds of feelings for many years. That is perfectly normal. But as you continue to progress upward on your hierarchy, the emotions you want to feel, such as confidence and happiness, follow along behind what you're already doing. The brain always takes some time to change thinking patterns and the way we feel. So it is important to be patient and persistent. As the brain processes these changes become permanent changes, because the brain can and does learn to respond to new thinking and new feelings as it learns these new habits. Let's discuss some of the other activities that are appropriate for a social anxiety therapy group. We have already mentioned making small talk and having mingling parties or group conversations. Through these activities, we practice slowing down and moving into our peace zone so that we can reduce our level of anxiety and be more natural. When you deliberately slow down, take it easy, and move into your peace zone, you'll find that having a conversation with someone else is not as difficult as you once thought it was. It is the social anxiety that has been blocking our progress and holding us back. An offshoot of the group conversation hierarchy is having a group conversation about a controversial topic. Those of us with social anxiety do not like confrontations, arguments, and verbal battles. Many of us have heard enough arguing to last us for a lifetime. While we do not want to become argumentative and confrontational, we do need to have the ability to discuss topics that are controversial, while at the same time remaining calm and in our peace zone. If we have something to say, we want to be able to say it without feeling social anxiety and having the negative thinking that goes along with it. Here's an example of one of our controversy conversations and what we want to learn from it. One of our groups chose abortion as the subject for their controversial conversation. This topic worked well for this group because we knew ahead of time that group members had widely differing views concerning this subject. If there had been little or no difference of opinion on the abortion, then this topic would not have made an appropriate controversy conversation. In a controversy conversation, we want to be able to fully express our views without hesitation and be respected for our beliefs. In order for that to happen, of course, we must allow others the same courtesy. In our particular group, one member was vehemently opposed to abortion in any form and made her view known. I was very happy to see that as she realized many of the rest of the group members disagreed with her, she slowed herself and her talking down, took a deep breath, and kept on calmly expressing her viewpoint. Sitting on the other side of the room was a woman who felt totally the opposite. You could tell she disagreed with the first woman, but she was not being impolite and impatient. When the first woman stopped speaking, the second one started talking. Her ideas and conclusions were vastly different than the first woman's, but she too handled this disagreement in a civilized, calm manner. She used slow talk too, as she went over the points she felt she might be challenged on. But she didn't back down or refrain from speaking her mind. She just did it in a nice, polite, and calm way. This is what assertion is. You say what you want to say, but you don't put others down in the process. Both women handled a difficult situation very well. Let's look at it from a different perspective. Had one of the women been a screaming zealot, the other one could have calmed her down considerably by refusing to get drawn into the screaming, the confrontational and racing talk, and the judgmental statements. Just by slowing down, moving into the peace zone, and remaining calm, you are always going to be in control. You are also going to be happier and carry with you a sense that you can control the situations and circumstances around you. These are crucial variables to overcoming social anxiety. By the way, the other group members chimed in too, but their opinions fell more in the middle of the debate. The great thing about this behavioral exercise is that everyone needs to feel free to speak their mind and learns to do it from a position of maturity. That is, we as adults should be able to disagree with others, carry on a reasonable discussion, and still remain friends. No two people agree on everything. The problem is more in the real world, where people do not always act like emotional adults. Most discussions of controversial subjects tend to polarize people and make them feel upset, aggressive, anxious, or helpless. Now, we cannot help or change the way other people act or feel, but we can change ourselves. We can decide to engage in a controversial discussion without getting emotional and upset about it. We can state the facts as we see them, without blaming anyone else, with the knowledge that some people may disagree with us. That is perfectly normal and is emotionally more mature. If someone responds to us emotionally or takes what we're saying personally, we can remain calm, slow our talking down just slightly so that we can be thoroughly understood, but that's all we can do. We do not need to get sucked into a whirlwind of arguments, emotional upsets, and anxiety. By avoiding all these negative emotions, we can remain in control of ourselves and rationally stay focused on what to say or do next. We also make frequent use of role plays in the group. Several role plays are fairly standard because most everyone needs to become more self-assertive. Remember, being self-assertive is not the same thing as being angry or rude. If you are self-assertive,